Let us continue our exploration of weak participle conjugations and look specifically at what happens when I have a hey as the last letter of my shoresh. Now I have to ask the question, why would hey, being the final letter of the shoresh, get its own class of conjugation? What is unique about this type of shoresh? So if you think about it, usually, right, when I have a typical standard shoresh, each letter of my shoresh makes a sound. The shin makes the sound in this case, the mem makes the sound, the resh makes the sounds, right? But when I have a hey as the last letter of my shoresh, right, the hey does not make a sound. It is silent. Okay, there's no sound. Only the first two letters, like in this case I gave a bet and a nun, right, they would make a sound. So there's going to be a change in conjugation. Here you see three shorashim, bana, asa, ra'a, and you see in each of these cases the hey is silent. You do not sound the ha sound, right? It's an aim kriya. That means that this hey is functioning more as a vowel to help you pronounce the other letters than as a consonant in and of itself. And its silence will impact the conjugation. So this type of shoresh is called a lamed hey shoresh, meaning that the last letter of the shoresh is going to be a hey, it's going to be silent. When we conjugate these lamed hey shorashim, it is almost never given a sound. The hey is almost never given a sound. So let's look at past tense, what you saw last semester. Haya, look at the second half haya, the lamed hey of haya. And notice that when I add a suffix, usually, right, that hey is never given a sound. In this case, it became another aim kriya, the chirik malay, the chirik yud, right? The yud is a aim kriya. Now let's look at what you saw last semester with future tense in the second case below. Here I have my lamed hey, shoresh, haya again, and I add my eitan prefix, which makes the future. And I have a suffix, right, which is going to make it plural. So they will be, right, for haya. So what happens to the second hey of haya, the lamed hey of haya? If you look here, it disappears. There is no hey. Okay, there's no lamed hey here. It gets dropped entirely. Which shows us, right, that we almost never give the hey a sound when we conjugate lamed hey sharashim. Here I have my lamed hey conjugation for participles. So let's take a shoresh, bet, nun, hey. So if you see, my last letter of my shoresh is a hey, it's silent, so the conjugation is going to change. Let's look at the last two conjugations, masculine plural and feminine plural. Now you see, usually, right, I'm going to conjugate my shoresh, shomer, shomeret, shomerim, and shomerot. Right? So if you look at the last two, masculine plural and feminine plural, you'll see, right, I have all three letters in my shoresh in a regular pattern, right? But when I have lamed hey shoreshim, I only have two letters in my shoresh. The hey got knocked out. The im kriya got left out of the party. As we saw before, when I add a suffix to a lamed hey shoresh, the hey is not sounded. Okay, now let's look at masculine singular now. So usually it's going to be shomer. Notice that in shomer, I have a tzere. I have two dots under the mem, under the second letter of the shoresh. However, when I have a lamed hey shoresh, I get a segol. I get three dots under the second letter of my shoresh. So that's really a very minor change in modern Hebrew. You don't even hear a difference in the way it sounded. It's very subtle, and that's just to compensate for the fact that the hey doesn't make a sound, so the nekud, the vowels change right before the hey. The big change that needs to be noted is for feminine singular. So usually it's going to be shomeret, right, with my et suffix. But here, when I have a lamed hey shoresh, right, I get a kamatz hey suffix, which is very, very unusual. I wouldn't expect this to be such a departure from a regular participle conjugation. Where does this kamathe suffix come from? Well, if you think back to what we discussed in Unit 1, shomeret is not the only feminine singular conjugation. There's also shomera, which is the old biblical Hebrew form that we discussed, right? And shomera has this kamathe suffix. So it makes sense that I can have a kamathe suffix when I'm conjugating a participle. And in doing a kamathe suffix, when I'm dealing with a lamed hey shoresh, what I've effectively done is I've prevented the hey from being sounded for my lamed hey shoresh. So now that we see the entire conjugation of lamed hey, I can see boneh, bona, bonim, bonot. In all of these cases, right, the hey is not sounded. Either it's dropped or it remains silent. Let us now look at the following 4 examples where we see lamed hey shorashim in action in Tanakh. Now, for the first 2, I'm going to tell you some important information that would not be apparent from the formula we discussed in Unit 1, just because it's less common. Yoshev, we're going to see, is an indefinite noun. And in 15, we're going to see shoma and ro'ah are both adjectives. Okay, and we're going to see this in action. Okay, let's look at number 14. In Melachim Aleph, David said about Shlomo, Baruch Hashem, blessed is God, Elokei Yisrael, God of Israel, Asher Natan, so Natan is past tense, that he gave, that God gave, Hayom, today, Yoshev. Now remember I said Yoshev is a noun. Now it's a participle because it has that O sound in the middle, right, between the first 2 letters of my shoresh. It rhymes with shomer. So that Hashem gave today. So it's a noun. So it's a noun when we're dealing with participles is the person who does the action. So it's a sitter, someone to sit, al kisi, on my chair, but this is a king, right? So it's on my throne. The enai ro'ot. And my eyes, what are ro'ot? My eyes, so I have a speaker, right? And it's a verb because it's not, I don't see any of the clues that tell me it's a noun or adjective. And my eyes see this thing. I gave you atadavar hazeh, this thing. So notice enai. So enai, you know, enayim are feminine because body parts that come in pairs are female. Right, so therefore it's going to be ro-ot. Now notice I have my ot suffix for feminine plural. Eyes are plural, right? And what happened to my hey of Reish Aleph hey? It got knocked out when I have my suffix. It's an aim kriya. Okay, so David is thanking Hashem that he has a successor to his throne. Witnesses. Okay, so blessed is God, God of Israel, that he gave today someone to sit on my throne, and my eyes see this thing. Okay, let's look at number 15. In Mishlai, so Mishlai is not going to follow the same formula that we've seen just because it's not a narrative. So we're not going to have the same definite adjectives that we're used to seeing, which is why I told you that these are adjectives. They're indefinite adjectives. So ozen shoma'at and ayin ro'ah. Now, ozen and an ayin, both body parts that come in pairs. So, therefore, they're feminine. So it's no surprise that my conjugation and participles will be feminine. So shoma'at is a participle, right? I have my O sound between the first 2 letters of my shoresh, and ro'ah is a participle. So shoma'at is conjugated a little bit differently than we'd expect because it is a lamed groni, the guttural, right? The ayin as the last letter of my shoresh affects the conjugation, right? It makes me have that at suffix as opposed to the et suffix because my gutturals love their patachs and we want to make it harmonious. Okay, we did that in the last clip. Now let's look at ayin ro'ah. So ayin ro'ah completely different suffix than what I've seen before, the et suffix or the tough suffix. I get the kamatz hey suffix to be parallel to what we said before, which is the old biblical Hebrew form with the kamatz hey. Right? There's no sound given to the hey. The hey is silent. And because these are adjectives, an ozen shomat is a ear that listens or a listening ear, and an ayin ro'ah is a seeing eye or an eye that sees. Okay, let's look at number 16. Vayomer Eli ben Adam. So ben Adam, a person said to me, haro'eh ata. So what type of hey is this for haro'eh ata? Is this a hey meaning the? No, it is not. This is a classic hey hashe'ela. Even the nekudot follow the exact formula that I'd expect of a hey hashe'ela, that chataf patach, right? That is classic hey hashe'ela. So it's going to turn the hey hashe'ela turns the statement into a question. Okay, so haro'eh. So my participle is ro'eh. So here, everyone over here, ro'eh. Okay, it's gonna be just like shomer in terms of its conjugation, except I have a segel instead of tzera. I have 3 dots instead of 2 dots, and obviously the hey is not sounded. So haro'eh ata mahim osim. Do you see what they? Let's look at the word osim. Is that a participle? It is, right? It's another lamed hey participle. Osim. My participle is ayin sin hey, right? And the hey dropped out when I had my suffix added. So, and in both cases here, I have a speaker, right? I have a speaker for ro'eh and osim, which is going to make the default present tense. So do you see what they are doing? Question mark. Okay, because it's a hey she'ela. Now let's look at 17. Vahika asher shama sanvalat. Sanvalat's the name of a person. So vahika asher is when, shama, he heard, right, past tense. When sanvalat heard, ki anachnu bonim et hachoma. So look at the word bonim. So bonim, I have a lamed hey shoresh. My shoresh is bet nun hey, and my hey dropped out when I added my suffix. Is bonim past, present, or future, right? Which one is it? It's functioning as a verb, so I want to make it probably parallel with the other verbs in the pasuk. I have shama is past. So chances are bonim is going to be something in the past. So when Sanballat heard that we were building the wall, I have that past continuous form, that we were building the wall, ... the following thing happens. Next, let's look at how to conjugate participles, lamed hey participles, from English to Hebrew with nekudot. So let's look at this chart. I am seeing for A, so my shoresh is resh aleph hey. It's masculine singular, right? And it's a participle. So I get my O sound, and I get my segel because it's a lamed hey. Usually I would have something like shomer with a tzere, but I get a segel because I'm dealing with a lamed hey shoresh. Okay, let's look at B. You are ascending, going up. My shoresh is ayin lamed hey, go up. It's a participle, so I get my O in the middle, my cholam in the middle, and it's feminine singular. So I usually expect it to be something like shomeret, right, with the et suffix. But what happens here? Can I do olahet? Absolutely not. What do I have to do? I change it. I use the old biblical Hebrew form of shomera as my operation, and it becomes ola. Okay, it becomes ola. Now let's look at C. They are doing. Okay, they are doing. So I have ayin, sin, hey is my shoresh. And they masculine, right? I try to put the iman. Does that work? No, it does not. Right? I do not want to give sound to that hey. So what does it become instead? It becomes o sim. Okay. Now let's look at D. You build. So my shorish of build is bet, nun, hey, and feminine plural, the suffix is ot. Can I do this? No, I cannot, because I do not want to give any sound to this hey, right, the lamed hey. So it becomes bo note. Beged kefet at the beginning of the word, so it gets a delegation of bet. Okay, so bo notes. Let's look at E. They take. So my shorish is lamed kuf chet. Right, it's a participle, so I get my O in the middle. And the suffix for they masculine is im. So it's just a regular lo kechim. Okay, nothing changes. My guttural can handle the shva beforehand, so it's just regular lo kechim. Okay, let's look at F. She sees. My shorish is resh, aleph, hey. There's a lamed hey shoresh, right? Usually I get a shomeret, my et suffix, when I'm dealing with feminine singular, she, right? But in this case, I can't do ro ehet. It becomes ro following the shomera formula, okay, the kamate formula. Ro a. Okay, let's look at G. Nose. Okay, my shorish is yud dalid ayin. So this is a lamed gronit, right? This is just a review of lamed gronit. I have a guttural. I have an ayin as the last letter of my shoresh. He knows, so I have a participle, so it's an O in the middle. I try to do shomer. Can I leave it like that? No, I cannot. I have to have that patach genuva. Yodze ah. Now let's do H. We build. My shorish for build is bet, nun, hey, right? It's a lamed hey shoresh. Okay, I have my O sound in the middle because I'm dealing with a participle. We masculine gets the im suffix, and we mentioned a lot of times it's hey cannot be sounded. So it becomes bo, nim, beged kefet at the beginning of a word, right? It becomes bonim. That's the answer for H. Okay, let's look at I. She sends. My shorish is shin, lamed, chet. It's a participle, so I get an O in the middle, right? And I have a tough suffix. I have a guttural here, right? My chet is a guttural, so this is a lamed gronit, a review of a lamed gronit. Instead of getting the shomeret pattern, I get a patach right before my guttural under my lamed. And to make it nice and harmonious and even, it becomes sholachat. Okay, that's for I, she sends, sholachat. Final step, I have this chart that we're building where we see all the different participle conjugations. And we did the regular kotev, kotevet, kotevim, kotevot. We did lamed gronit, the final guttural. For shin mem ayin here, we have shomei ah with the patach genuva, shoma at, right, the harmonious patach pattern, shome'im, shome'ot, no change. Now let's do lamed hey. So ayin sin hey, asa means to do or to make. And in yachid, it's going to be what? Oseh, right? I get the segel, 3 dots, instead of the tseirei, the 2 dots. Let's look at rabim and rabot. Let's just skip yachida for a moment, feminine singular. Let's move on to the plurals. It's what's going to happen to my hey. My hey is going to drop out when I have the suffix. Osim, osot, the hey got left out. And feminine singular, right, is not going to follow the kotevet shomat pattern. Rather, it's going to follow that old biblical Hebrew form, koteva, right? That old biblical Hebrew form. So it's going to become what? It becomes osa. So here I have a regular lamed gronit and lamed hey. Now let's look at the final 2 columns on the chart, ayin vav and ayin yud, in the next clip.